The event that's been gone from the Run Disney roster since 2018, with the last race being run in November 2017, the only stateside Run Disney events that many of us have never been lucky enough to participate in until now. In just a few short days, we'll be running in and around the Disneyland property, something that hasn't been officially done and sanctioned by Run Disney in over 6 years. Now let me preface this guide with this. Once again, this is a lot of information and new information for a lot of us, including me. So please use the timestamps in the description box and along the timeline to navigate through to the sections of the video that are most applicable to you. Also, sprinkle in some grace on this one too. Seeing as the last Run Disney event here was over 6 years ago, I have zero course footage outside of some rainy Hurricane Hillary chalk walk footage from my first Disneyland trip last August. So with all of those things out of the way, let's get ready to run where Walt walked. It's time for the 2024 Disneyland Half Marathon Weekend Digital Event Guide. Similar to the Disney World event guides, we are welcomed on the opening page by a welcome letter. But this time, however, we are welcomed by Ken Potrock. Potrock? Potrock. However, I don't know how to say his last name. The president of Disneyland Resort. In the letter, Mr. Potrock expressed how excited both he, cast members, charities, and more are about the return of Run Disney to Anaheim. First up, let's learn about the weekend events, starting with the important reminders link. In this section, you'll find information regarding waivers and check-in passes. Digital waivers must be signed prior to picking up your bibs at the expo. Signing waivers digitally is easy, and they are located in your Run Disney account. Can't sign them digitally for some reason? I'm going to safely assume that paper waivers will be available at the expo just like they are at Disney World. Your expo check-in pass will automatically load into your Run Disney account on January the 9th. Once you receive your check-in pass, which Run Disney will send you an email letting you know that it's available to view, either print out a copy or do what I do, screenshot it and save it to your favorites on your phone, your favorite photos on your phone. That way it's easily accessible on expo morning. Also, if you're driving to the expo, you will need your expo check-in pass in order to get discounted parking in the Pixar Pals parking structure. Yeah, you're about to pay for parking. Other important reminders in this section include things like attending the expo the day before or earlier of your race in order to pick up your bibs. I have no clue if there will be emergency bib pickup in the mornings, so let's just assume that there will not be. You need to be there the day before your race in order to pick up your bib. Everyone all together now, there is no day of race bib pickup. There's also reminders involving transportation, which we'll look into this more in depth with each race distance. Don't forget that any and all participants are subject to security inspection and screenings prior to entry into the expo and event staging areas. This also includes your costumes. Please refer to the specific costume guidelines in the event guide. Please pay attention to when your race starts and where each morning. The 5K starts in a different place than the 10K and the half do. I don't want you showing up at the wrong place. That would be so sad. Pacing requirements remain the same in Disneyland as they are in Disney World. You must maintain a minimum of a 16-minute per mile pace. The guide mentions pacing bicyclists with flags. Now, if you reach a mile marker and the cyclists are there at that marker waving a red flag, you are officially behind the pace and can be picked up at any time and transported back to the reunion area. The 16-minute per mile pace is inclusive of character stops, bathroom stops, water, and nutrition stops. The official 16-minute per mile pace starts when the last runners, most likely the balloon ladies, cross the start line. Important reminders for race days include gear check and lost and found. Gear check is available for the 5K, 10K, and half marathon each morning. The clear bag that you receive your shirts in at the expo will serve as your gear check bag, and no other bag will be accepted. Write your bib number on the space provided on the bag, and this number will also be used to pick up your bag at the end of the race. Please do not store valuable items in your gear check bag. Leave the expensive jewelry, the computers, whatever, in your hotel. Gear check is ideal for personal post-race nutrition, recovery shoes, a jacket, etc. Any gear check bags left at the end of the races will be turned into lost and found outside of the Disneyland park. Speaking of lost and found, any clothing left at the end of the events will be donated, just like in Disney World. If you've lost a valuable item in the staging area or on the course or anywhere in the reunion area, you can check in with the information tent and see if it's been turned in. You'll also be able to leave your contact information so that you can be notified if your items are found and turned in. Any lost and unclaimed items will be turned into the resort lost and found at the Disneyland Park entrance at race completion. Make sure that your bib is on the front of your person and visible at all times. The presence of a bib signals to race officials and other cast members that you're meant to be on the course and participating. If at any time you're caught without a bib, you will be removed from the course and face possible further consequences. Wearing your bib on the front of your person and not hidden under jackets, layering shirts, or props ensures that you will get your race photo. runDisney supplies dozens of photographers throughout the course, and your pictures are sent to you via your bib number in the app. If it's not visible, you won't get your pictures. PhotoPass photographers will be very noticeable on the course and are most densely packed in the parks. Now, about the photographers out on the roads of Anaheim, your guess is as good as mine on if they'll be there. We won't know until we're there for sure. They're visible in park by the lime green tents they sit near, and if it's still dark outside, the giant lights they use to get the perfect shot. It's also very important that if you see them, you keep moving. They are trained to take several photos in quick succession, so you do not need to stop and pose for them. Stopping in the pathway creates a hazard for you, the photographer, and the other runners around you. Do not stop for them. They got your pictures. I promise you that they did. In order to view your photos, you will need to manually enter the codes for each specific race into your Disneyland app. Please refer to the guide for the specific codes for each race, but also know that they will most likely be printed on the back side of your bib. Something new for those of us who are used to PhotoPass at Disney World, especially annual pass holders, your photos will be available for download and purchase day of the races with Disney PhotoPass Plus 1 day. They will be available to download if you're visiting the parks later that same day if you have Genie Plus. Genie Plus in Disneyland includes unlimited PhotoPass downloads. Now, from a cost perspective, adding the PhotoPass Plus 1 day will cost nearly the same as adding Genie Plus to your park ticket. So honestly, the Genie Plus option provides more bang for your Disney dollars, in my opinion. Okay, now that all of that is out of the way, let's get into the nitty-gritty of each of the events of the weekend, including the Expo, yoga, kids races, the 5K, the 10K, and the half marathon. Y'all, it is so much stuff crammed into just 4 days. First up is the Health and Fitness Expo. The Expo is a 3-day event held at the Disneyland Hotel Exhibit Hall, starting Thursday, January 11th from 10 to 8, Friday, January 12th from noon to 8 p.m., and Saturday, January 13th from 10 to 4. Those of you wishing to shop the official race merchandise on the first day of the Expo will need to join the virtual queue just as we do in Disney World. From your Disneyland app, you'll be able to join the queue within the Anaheim Resort area. A change for Disneyland is that the queue will open at 7 a.m. rather than the 8:30 time like we're used to in Florida. So don't miss that. Time change to join the queue is 7 a.m. In your Disneyland app, navigate to the virtual queue section and then click the tab labeled Special Events. You'll join the queue from here. You can add up to 6 members to your shopping party, and just like in Disney World, you'll be given an approximate return time based on the opening time of the Expo. So don't panic if the wait time is very long. Make sure that your push notifications are enabled in your Disneyland app, and you'll be sent a push notification when it's your time to return. You will have 1 hour, which 60 minutes, to return to shop after you have been called. Club Run Disney members, you'll be able to enjoy the early shopping benefits familiar to us from Disney World while here in Disneyland. Platinum Club Run Disney shopping times begin at 8:30 a.m. and Gold early shopping begins at 9:30. Platinum and Gold members do not need to join the virtual queue for the first day of the Expo. Platinum Club Run Disney can also enjoy a simplified bib pickup and shirt pickup located on the second level of the exhibit hall in the Sleeping Beauty Pavilion. As we've previously discussed, all race participants must attend the expo prior to their first race event in order to pick up their bibs and shirts. Race bib pickup is located on the second floor of the Magic Kingdom Ballroom of the Disneyland Hotel exhibit hall. You must have a valid photo ID and Expo check-in pass in order to pick up your bibs. Shirt pickup will also be located in the Grand Ballroom of the Disneyland Hotel exhibit hall. Spoiler alert, it's the same ballroom where the official Run Disney merchandise, the exhibitors, the pre-purchased merchandise, and the Run Disney showcase are. So basically, bank on some serious time and money in the Magic Kingdom Ballroom. Food and beverage options for this weekend are interesting, but not in a bad way. As per the guide, here are your options for food and beverage during the expo and prior to each race. What? Prior. Yes, you heard me correctly. Prior. The guide makes mention of a special concession stand within the Disneyland Hotel exhibit hall during the following hours. All day Thursday, which is Expo Day 1, from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Breakfast beginning at 4 a.m. on Friday, January 12th, with continuing options from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Breakfast beginning at 4 a.m. on Saturday, January 13th, with continuing options until 4. And breakfast from 4 to 8 a.m. on Sunday, January 14th. In addition to the special concession stands, many places in downtown Disney are opening early with modified hours during their race weekend to accommodate us hungry runners. Please refer to the event guide for specific hours and restrictions, but the locations participating in some way include Beignets Express, Earl of Sandwich, Jamba, Splitsville, Luxury Lanes, Starbucks, and Tortilla Joe's. If you're wanting to partake in any of these special offerings, please build that time into your already busy morning schedule. I imagine there will be a line in a lot of these locations, so take that into consideration when planning out your race mornings. Now, let's talk Expo Transportation because it's, well, different. But again, not in a bad way. If you're driving to the expo, you'll need to park in the Pixar Pals parking structure. You'll need to show your check-in pass in order to receive a discounted parking rate of $10. Yes, you have to pay for parking. If you do not have an expo check-in pass and are just part of general population, regular parking rates will apply of $35 per day. Given how compact and walkable the Disneyland Resort area is, it is absolutely feasible to walk from the Good Neighbor hotels to the expo. This will be my method of arrival. Just remember, you have to walk back with all of your purchases, so take that into account when buying things, or don't. The Disneyland Hotel is no farther than about a mile from many of the Good Neighbor hotels. Ride sharing warrior speed? Great. Please utilize the guest drop-off location in downtown Disney and then follow the signs to walk the short distance to the Disneyland Hotel. This would be my best option for if I buy too much and I don't want to have to walk it back to my hotel. Yes, it's all coming together. You're also encouraged to utilize local transportation, including the Anaheim Transportation Network, the ATN, Anaheim Regional Transit, Free Rides Around the Neighborhood, which is a free on-demand neighborhood microtransit service for Center City area and a 5-mile radius. I highly recommend that you take some time to deep dive into this for yourself before the mornings that you need to use it. Some of these options require tickets and or reservations. Those of us getting our stretch on before the expo at yoga, listen up. Also, side note, I'm fully aware that I have previously said in very public spaces that I would never do yoga because I don't bend that way. Yes, I know that because I'm eating my words. I will absolutely be there keeping it awkward with you all that morning. Also, please don't judge me if I fall asleep on my yoga mat in front of the castle. I hear it's just that relaxing. Yoga takes place on Thursday, January 11th at Disneyland Park. Yes, Thursday. Yes, that's day one of the expo. Thursday is about to be a really long day. Yes. The parking structure, Mickey and Friends, and security opens at 3 a.m. Transportation from the parking garage to the event starting area will be provided, but Run Disney cautions you to allow for plenty of time to park, travel to Disneyland, go through security, and then check in. Parking rates for this garage are $35 per day per car for standard parking, and then $55 per day per car for preferred. Preferred refers to spots closest to the elevators and escalators. Public transportation is also available, but please refer to the event guide for the specific details. A valid photo ID and completed yoga check-in pass are required to check in for this event. Check-in is located at ticket booth number 5 at Disneyland. Check-in will start at 3:45 a.m. and you must arrive by 4:45 a.m. at the latest to participate in the event. Yoga starts at 5 a.m. and is anticipated to last 1 hour. Another note here, the spots in yoga are first come, first serve. So if a spot up near the castle next to me taking a nap is important to you, get there early. Participants will receive a yoga mat, carrying strap, and a bottle of water. A somewhat pro tip, not fully pro because I've never done this before, but Tara has, and she's a reliable source of information for a lot of things, except Animal Kingdom, because I still don't think it's as near as much fun as she claims. She thinks that's the best place ever and whatever. Consider keeping some extra room in your suitcase for the yoga mat. It's not exactly small or light. After the event is completed, everyone will be exited out of Disneyland Park and a valid ticket and reservation will be required for re-entry. The 5K! The 5K takes place on Friday, January 12th with a race start and finish in the Disneyland Park. Yes, inside Disneyland. I'm so excited. Staging and corral areas open at 4 a.m. and the race start time is 5 a.m. The start line will close at 5:15. Yes, that's 15 minutes to get everyone through the start line. Now that doesn't sound like a lot of time, but remember this, the crowds that we're used to seeing at a Run Disney event in Orlando are much, much larger than the ones that we'll be seeing in Anaheim. Think of it this way, smaller castle translates into smaller race pool. Transportation to and from the event offers the same options as the Expo, self-driving with parking in the Mickey and Friends parking lot garage, which will cost you $35 per day, public transportation, rideshare, or my most favorite, reliable, and better yet free option, your own 2 feet. Remember, due to the Good Neighbor hotels and other Disney resort area hotels being walking distance from Disneyland, walking is absolutely an option. Honestly, you'll be walking farther at Disney World, think about it, from the bus bay to security screening, to the staging area, to the corrals, and then to the start line than you will walking to Disneyland, just to put some perspective on it. Please check the event guide for the specific details of the public transportation opportunities, as some require pre-purchase tickets and reservations. Based on the event guide, there does not appear to be official Disney race transportation from the official Disneyland resort area hotels, as these are well within walking distance. Spectator viewing for the Disneyland 5K is only available at the finish line area at Pixar Pier in Disney California Adventure. This location is only accessible from 5 a.m. to 6:15 a.m. via the gate between the Earl of Sandwich and World of Disney. Just as in Disney World, the 5K is completely contained within the bounds of the park, therefore spectating in the park is not allowed, as it won't be open to the general public. The course. The 5K starts inside Disneyland. Yes, right in front of the castle. Once we're sent through the start line, we'll begin a completely within the 2 parks tour of Disneyland and California Adventure. Run beside the right side of the castle, where Pixie Hollow will be on your right, Alice in Wonderland Dark Ride and some bathrooms will be on your left, and then the Matterhorn is farther up on your right. Keep moving forward past the Mad Tea Party, the Storybook Land boats, and then the most beautiful thing you've ever seen in your life, the outer facade of It's a Small World. Yeah, it'll be right in front of you. Run past Small World and next to the Small World toy shop before making your way slightly downhill and under the train tracks to enter Mickey's Toontown. I was here in August, and honestly, outside of Small World and Avengers Campus, this is my favorite place. It's so cute and immersive, and I cannot wait to see what they do with characters in this space, since we'll be running right by Minnie's house as we leave for a brief section backstage. On any given day, there are a ton of characters out in this section, including Mickey, Minnie, Pluto, Daisy, Donald, Clarabelle Cow, Stinky Pete, and even more. The possibilities are endless here. We will re-emerge from backstage near the First Order Cargo and Galaxy's Edge. Don't worry, we will actually double dip into Galaxy's Edge later on in the race as well. And by later, I mean like less than a mile. March or run the first walkway leading to Frontierland and under the train tracks. We'll proceed around the left side of the wildest ride in the wilderness, Big Thunder Mountain. Right before we start running along the banks of the rivers of America, that will be on your right. To your left, you'll see some notable places, including Pirates of the Caribbean, Orleans Square, Haunted Mansion, Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and the Hungry Bear Restaurant. We'll continue on past the Hungry Bear and make our way back towards Galaxy's Edge. Mile 1 is located parallel to Rise of the Resistance. We will continue through Galaxy's Edge just past the exit of Rise of the Resistance before we hide out from the First Order between the exit and Black Spire Outpost. Backstage will be a sight. We'll be running by cast-only buildings, including Disney casting. Hey, yo, can I have a job? Then we'll be shown the Parade Route Road, which, as the name suggests, is where the parade routes begin. Attention runners, caution for wild Autopia cars on the loose. Just kidding, they won't be on the loose, but you sure will smell them if they're there, if they smell anything like the ones in Disney World. Keep moving past the backside of Star Wars Launch Bay, Space Mountain, and then exit again to backstage. Now, I feel like the most confusing thing about this map is that dotted line by the bus bay area of Disneyland Park. Well, y'all, your girl figured out what the blue dotted line is, courtesy of Google Maps. It's a slightly below ground feeder type road for Disneyland sanctioned vehicles. Think like work trucks. So then slightly above us, the world will be none the wiser that a few thousand people will be running right under their feet. I don't know why, but this looks really cool. Maybe because it's like Disneyland's version of the Utilidors. Anyway, Mile 2 is right behind Hyperion Theater. Did I say it right? Mm-hmm. Hyperion Theater, home of the esteemed Rogers the Musical. Oh, did you realize? We're in Disney California Adventure now. Enter back onto stage between Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout and the theater. We don't go through Avengers Campus just yet. They're making us wait just a little longer, but mostly me. They're making me wait to be reunited with Captain America. Okay? Okay. Run along the front side of the theater and then up to Monsters, Inc. Mike and Sully to the rescue. Take a left by this attraction and then another left to run between Schmoozes and Mickey's PhilharMagic. Continue all the way down Hollywood Boulevard until you reach Carthay Circle. We'll be running a hard left and then between Willie's Churros and the Carthay Circle restaurant. Allow me to forewarn you here, okay? If you see me standing near the giant arc reactor or leaned up against the Avengers A on the wall sobbing, let me have my moment, okay? I'm 100% a Disney princess until the Avengers tell me that it's time to assemble, okay? Seriously, Mr. Fury, call me. We'll be treated to a run by web slingers, a Spider-Man adventure before being face to face with the Avengers headquarters and the Quinjet. This is my Super Bowl, this part right here. We will exit Avengers Campus far too soon, in my opinion, between the Ancient Sanctum and the Avengers headquarters. Now we're on our way to Cars Land. One of the highlights of my trip in the fall was seeing Cars Land at night with all of the neon glowing, and y'all, it's to die for. Hopefully it'll still be dark when we make it to this portion on the course and you can see it too. Unfortunately, we won't be running by Radiator Springs Racers. We'll quickly see the Luigi ride before making an immediate right turn onto Route 66 and by the Cozy Cone Motel, Flo's V8 Cafe, and the Mater's Jamboree, before we'll turn left onto Performance Parkway. Just as you ran the banks of the rivers of America earlier in the race in Disneyland, you'll run the banks of Paradise Bay for the last portion of this course. Here, you'll be treated to a run-by of Wine Country Trattoria, the one and only Joffrey stand in the whole park, and then over the Pixar Pier Bridge. Once you pass Lamplight Lounge, you'll veer to the right and begin to run the boardwalk area. Here, you'll pass attractions such as Incredicoaster, Jesse's Critter Carousel, Toy Story Midway Mania, Mickey's Fun Wheel of Death, aka Pixar Pal Around, but the real ones know it's the Fun Wheel of Death. And finally, Inside Out Emotional Whirlwind. Mile 3 will be located near the Silly Symphony Swings with the finish near Goofy's Sky School. Congratulations on your two-park stellar 5K finish. The 10K. The 10K takes place on Saturday, January 13th with the race start and finish on Disney Way. Race start time is 5 a.m. The 10K time frame, as per the guide, is as follows. Staging area opens at 3:30, corrals open at 4, race start is at 5 a.m., and race start line closes at 5:25. But where in tarnation is Disney Way? That's a good question that I have an answer for. Disney Way is located off of Harbor Boulevard and near the entrance to Disney property. If you're walking to Disney property from the hotels on Harbor, you would take a right or a left to Disney Way to cross Harbor and then reach property. But rather than doing that, you'll turn right or left, depending on which direction you're coming from, to proceed down Disney Way away from property. About a block down this road, you'll reach the start line area. But that's not the way you'll enter the event area. The way you enter the event area provides two options. Those of you like myself staying more northern side of Harbor Boulevard, like the Howard Johnson, Courtyard by Marriott, Fairfield Inn, Camelot Inn, etc., you'll proceed down Harbor Boulevard, but take the pedestrian walkway between the Camelot Inn and the Tropicana Inn. You'll continue to walk away from Disney property until you reach the cast parking lot, where a very familiar staging area will be seen, including the stage, gear check, pre-race water, athletes with disabilities, self-treat tents, and general info. There will also be porta potties here as well, or porta parties as I called them in the last guide. Well, all this is fine and good, but how do you get there if you're staying a touch more south, like the Anaheim Hotel, JW Marriott Anaheim, Hyatt House, etc.? You'll need to proceed to Clementine Street via West Catella Avenue and enter the event space near where Corral E will be. Those guests staying at the official Disney Resort hotels, you will walk through downtown Disney as if you're heading to the parks, but keep walking through the Esplanade to cross Harbor Boulevard and proceed to the start area most readily between the Camelot Inn and the Tropicana Inn. Transportation to and from the event offers the same options as the Expo and 5K. Self-driving with parking in the Toy Story parking lot, which will cost $35 per day per car. If you're driving and parking in the Toy Story lot, runDisney states that participants need to be parked by no later than 4 a.m. Other forms of transportation would be public transportation, rideshare, or my most favorite, reliable, and free option, your own 2 feet. As we've discussed above, please check the event guide for specific details of the public transportation opportunities, as some require pre-purchase tickets and reservations. Based on the event guide, there does not appear to be official Disney race transportation from the Disneyland Resort area hotels, as these are well within walking distance. Spectator viewing for the Disneyland 10K is available along Harbor Boulevard and along Catella Avenue. You are also able to spectate in the Esplanade between Disneyland and DCA entrances. As with Disney World, spectating in the finish area is also encouraged and will be available starting from 3:30 a.m. until the event concludes. Parking for spectators will be in the Toy Story parking lot, and daily parking rates will apply. Yes, you will pay to park. Ready for 6.2 miles of mostly park time? Let's go! Race start is on Disney Way and has us running to Harbor Boulevard and turning left. Once we make it down approximately a block, we'll turn right onto Catella Avenue. We'll stay on Catella until we reach Disneyland Drive and turn right. Mile 1 will be located at the backstage cast member entrance and exit and bring us into Disney's California Adventure. We'll remain backstage at DCA with possible sights to your left of Incredicoaster, Pixar Pal Around, and Radiator Springs Racers. Speaking of those racers, the first water stop for this course is located as we reach the Radiator Springs Racers and the back of the Candy Cane Inn, which is one of the Good Neighbor hotels. Continue for just a bit longer backstage and then finally make your grand entrance to Disney California Adventure between Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout and the home of Captain America of the theater, which is, home of the best musical ever made, Rogers. Run through Hollywoodland on Hollywood Boulevard, passing the Animation Academy, Mickey's PhilharMagic, and the Disney Theater before reaching Carthay Circle. Just as in the 5K, we'll proceed on the Performance Corridor until we reach the entrance to Avengers Campus, where Mile 2 and My Heart will be located. Again, if you see me stopped here having a moment, mind your business. Your girl is home now, okay? Run past Web Slingers and up to the Avengers headquarters before turning right and making your way to Cars Land, just as you would have the day prior in the 5K. Take a quick right turn on Route 66 and run past the Cozy Cone Motel, where I hear there's a free Lincoln Continental breakfast if you have a reservation to stay there. Then you'll run past Mater's before a slight left to be running the banks of Paradise Bay, just as in the 5K. We'll run Paradise Pier all the way, taking in the sights of Lamplight Lounge, the Joffrey's Cart, Incredicoaster, Jesse's Critter Carousel, Toy Story Midway Mania, Mickey's Fun Wheel of Death, or Pixar Pal Around if you insist on calling it by its proper name. Inside Out Emotional Whirlwind, Silly Symphony Swings, Jumpin' Jellyfish, Goofy Sky School, and the Golden Zephyr, and The Little Mermaid, Ariel's Undersea Adventure. Runners will exit this area between the Little Mermaid and the gift shop. Now we're in new territory, Grizzly Peak territory to be exact. Once you get to the end of the Little Mermaid show building, you'll veer left and proceed to run past the Redwood Creek Challenge Trail, Grizzly River Run, and eventually Soarin'. Nice work, pal. Continue on until you reach Buena Vista Drive and run out the main gates of DCA. Mile 3 is located on the Esplanade connecting DCA and Disneyland. Medical stop number 1 will also be located here as well. After literally running through the main gates of Disneyland, in order to set us up for a very memorable moment, running around the train station, then to City Hall, and then y'all, Walt's apartment. Above the firehouse, Walt's apartment, the lamp, the light on, yeah. The second water stop will be located around this area of the Emporium. Continue up Main Street until you reach the hub where the founder statue is, but continue to veer left, taking the first walkway leading to Adventureland. We'll navigate our way by the Jungle Cruise, Bengal Barbecue, the Adventure Treehouse, and then emerge along the banks of the Rivers of America near Pirates of the Caribbean. Continue on this path all the way along the river, passing Haunted Mansion, Tiana's Bayou Adventure, Hungry Bear Restaurant, and everything else until you reach the entrance of Galaxy's Edge. Unlike the 5K, where we only touched into Galaxy's Edge literally in the corners, we're getting a full run through with this course. While in this area, keep your eyes peeled for Rise of the Resistance, Black Spire Outfitters, the Droid Depot, and then we'll be out the second exit beside Kylo Ren's ship. After leaving here, we'll be running under the train tracks in Frontierland and then beside Big Thunder Mountain. We'll make our way back towards the hub where Mile 4 will be located just before we get to run through Sleeping Beauty Castle. That's right, no more waiting until longer distance races to run through the castle. We get to do it not only this race, but also in the half marathon, so twice. Continue straight out the castle and beside Peter Pan's Flight, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, and the right side of the carousel. We'll turn right at Storybook Land Canal Boats and the Mad Tea Party. We'll make another right turn at Alice in Wonderland and the Matterhorn. Make your way back to the hub and veer left to run by Astro Orbiter and then into Tomorrowland. Take in the sights of Star Tours to your right, Buzz Lightyear Astro Blast on your left, and then you'll run the horseshoe path around Space Mountain's main entrance. Exit Tomorrowland between the Finding Nemo submarine voyage and the backside of the Matterhorn. Continue moving towards the back of the park and right past It's a Small World and into Toontown. Toontown will look the same as the 5K, where we run through the main streets of Toontown and out backstage by Minnie's house. We'll wind and bebop our way backstage through cast member areas, and eventually we'll find the Mile 5 marker directly parallel to the back of Galaxy's Edge, quickly followed by the second medical tent and the third water stop. Attention runners, caution, look out for those Autopia cars on the loose. Remember, they won't be, but you'll smell them. Keep moving past the backside of Star Wars Launch Base Space Mountain. Now, I feel like the most confusing thing about this map is the dotted line by the Best Bay area of Disneyland Park. Well, y'all, your girl figured out what the blue dotted line is. It's a slightly below ground feeder type road for Disneyland sanctioned vehicles. So then slightly above us, the world will be none the wiser that a few thousand people will be running right under their feet. I don't know why this looks really cool, but it does. Once we come back up to street level on Disney Way, we'll find the Mile 6 marker and then the finish line in the same area that we started the race. Congrats on a very, very park-filled 10K. Kids races, So excited. Kids races are back at Run Disney and will take place on Saturday, January 13th. Yes, that's the same day as the 10K, with race start and finish on Disney Way. Important times to remember for the kids races are as follows. 9 a.m. the activity zone will open. 9:45 we'll see the 100-meter staging for 1 to 3-year-olds. 10 a.m. the 100-meter dash will begin, as will the 200-meter staging for 4 to 6-year-olds. 10:20 is when the 200-meter dash begins. 10:25 will be when the staging for the 300-meter for 7 to 9-year-olds, as well as the activity zone closes. 10:40 signifies the start of the 300-meter dash and also staging for the diaper dash. 11:10 a.m. it's go time for the diaper dash. By 11:30 all events have concluded. Whew, what a morning! Important reminders for the kids races, as mentioned in the event guide, include picking up bibs by the child's guardian at the expo on Friday, January 12th or earlier with a valid photo ID. Run Disney also requires that each race participant wear their bib on their outermost layer of clothing and clearly visible. Same rules as with the adult runners. If your older child is running and you are not running with them, a parent claim tag will be utilized to claim your child post-race. The top of their race bib serves as the parent claim tag. After you check your runner in, parents and guardians will detach the parent claim tag and keep it with them until the race finish. At the race finish, the claim tags will be matched with the runner's bib number. Honestly, it's the same process as gear check, but rather than your extra clothes and shoes and a snack, it's your child. Parents are allowed to run with their children, but only registered children will receive a finisher's medallion, with some categories filling up before others. I'm so excited to see the kids races back, and I hope that it's a signal that they'll also be returning to Disney World very soon. Now it's time to wrap up these distances with the longest distance of the weekend, the half marathon. The half marathon marks the conclusion of the Dumbo Double Dare Challenge and the final race of this 2024 Disneyland Half Marathon weekend. The half marathon takes place on Sunday, January 14th, with the race start and finish on Disney Way and a race start time of 5 a.m. The half marathon time frame, as per the guide, is as follows. Staging area opens at 3:30 a.m., corrals open at 4, race start is at 5 a.m., and race start line closes at 5:35. Well, where in tarnation is Disney Way? That's a good question that I have an answer for. Disney Way is located off of Harbor Boulevard and near the entrance to Disney property. If you're walking to Disney property from the hotels on Harbor, you would take a right or a left to then cross over Harbor to reach property. But rather than doing that, you'll turn right or left depending on which direction you're coming from to proceed down Disney Way away from property. About a block down this road, you'll reach the start line area, but that's not the way you'll enter the event area. The way you enter the event area provides two options. Those of you like myself staying on the east side, more northern side of Harbor Boulevard, like at the Howard Johnson, the Courtyard by Marriott, Fairfield Inn, Camelot Inn, etc., you'll proceed down Harbor Boulevard but take the pedestrian walkway between Camelot Inn and the Tropicana Inn. You'll continue to walk away from Disney property until you reach the cast member parking lot, where a very familiar staging area will be seen, including the stage, gear check, pre-race water, athletes with disabilities check-in, self-treat tents, and general info. There will also be porta potties here as well. Well, this is all fine and good, but how do you get there if you're staying a touch more south, like at the Anaheim Hotel, JW Marriott Anaheim, Hyatt House, etc.? Well, you need to proceed to Clementine Street via West Catella Avenue and enter the event space near where Corral E will be. Those guests staying at the official Disney Resort hotels, you will walk through downtown Disney as if you're heading to the parks, but keep walking through the Esplanade to cross Harbor Boulevard and proceed to the start area most readily between Camelot Inn and Tropicana Inn. Transportation to and from the event offers the same options as the Expo and 5 and 10K, with self-driving parking in the Toy Story parking lot, which will cost $35 per car per day. If you're driving and parking in the Toy Story lot, Run Disney states that participants need to be parked by no later than 4 a.m. Other forms of transportation would be public transportation, rideshare, or my favorite, most reliable and free option, your own 2 feet. As we've discussed previously, please check the event guide for specific details of public transportation opportunities, as some require pre-purchased tickets and reservations. Based on the event guide, there does not appear to be official Disney race transportation from the Disneyland Resort area hotels as these are well within walking distance. Spectating for the half marathon has several options if you or your cheer section are able to get there. Let me preface this by reminding you that there will be substantial road closures all around the streets of Anaheim, so please consult the road closure graphic found in the half marathon section of the event guide. Spectating along Harbor Boulevard as well as Catella Avenue will be available once again, just like for the 10K. Also in line with 10K spectating is the Esplanade area between DCA and Disneyland. Next up, and solely dependent on your ability to get there, are the city streets of Anaheim, including along Ball Road, Anaheim Boulevard, Cerritos Avenue, Lewis Street, the Honda Center, Angel Stadium parking lot, along Gene Autry Way, and then the finish line area. All right, 13.1 miles stand between you and a really awesome medal, or maybe 2 if you're doing the challenge. So let's get moving. If the next 4+ miles sound familiar, it's because they're a near copy paste of the 10K course with only a few changes. So let's copy paste this, shall we? Race start is on Disney Way and has us running to Harbor Boulevard and turning left. Once we make it down approximately a block, we'll turn right onto Catella Avenue. We'll stay on Catella until we reach Disneyland Drive and turn right. Mile 1 is located at the backstage cast member entrance and exit and will bring us into Disney California Adventure. We'll remain backstage at DCA with possible sights to your left of Incredicoaster, Pixar Pal Around, and Radiator Springs Racers. Speaking of those racers, the first water stop for this course is located as we reach the Radiator Springs Racers and at the back of the Candy Cane Inn, which is one of the Good Neighbor hotels. Continue just for a bit longer backstage, and then finally make your grand entrance into Disney California Adventure between Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout and the Hyperion Theater, home of the best musical ever made, Rogers. Yeah. In fact, let's rename it. It's no longer Hyperion. It's Steve Rogers Theater. Yes. Run through Hollywoodland on Hollywood Boulevard with a slight detour to go see Mike and Sully before making your way back to Hollywood Boulevard, passing Mickey's PhilharMagic and Disney Theater before reaching Carthay Circle, where you'll also be treated to the mile 2 marker. Just as in the 5K, we'll proceed on the performance corridor until we reach the entrance to Avengers Campus, where my heart will be located. Right there. Again, if you see me stopped or having a moment, mind your business. Run past the web slingers and up to the Avengers headquarters before turning right and making your way to Carsland, just as you would have the day prior in the 10K. Take a quick right turn on Route 66 and run past the Cozy Cone Motel, where I hear there's a free Lincoln Continental breakfast if you have a reservation, and then past Mater's before a slight left to be running the banks of Paradise Bay. Just as in the 10K, we'll run Paradise Pier, all while taking in the sights of Lamplight Lounge, the Joffrey's Cart, Incredicoaster, Jesse's Critter Carousel, Toy Story Midway Mania, Mickey's Fun Wheel of Death, Pixar Pal Around, Inside Out Emotional Whirlwind, Silly Symphony Swings, Jumpin' Jellyfish, Goofy Sky School, the Golden Zephyr, and the Little Mermaid Ariel's Undersea Adventure. Runners will exit this area between the Little Mermaid and the gift shop. Okay, now we're back into new territory, Grizzly Peak territory, once again. Once you get to the end of the Mermaid Show building, you'll veer left and then proceed to run past the Redwood Creek Challenge Trail, Grizzly River Run, and then out backstage between Earl of Sandwich and World of Disney. Mile 3 will be located here, as will the second water stop for this course. We'll run into the Esplanade from this backstage area and through the main gates of Disneyland. Now, unlike yesterday where we were treated to a run by the fire station in Walt's apartment, we don't get that luxury this time. We'll remain along the right side of the entrance near Mr. Lincoln, right side of the entrance to Main Street near the flagpole, and then up from there. Just like in Disney World, we'll reach the end of Main Street and take the first pathway to Tomorrowland with a run by Astro Orbiter, Star Tours, Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters, Star Wars Launch Bay, and the entrance to Space Mountain. We'll leave Tomorrowland between the Matterhorn and the Finding Nemo submarines, only to make a quick left turn and run by Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, the Carousel, and Peter Pan. Ready to run through the castle again? Well, it's time! Once you run through the castle, you'll take the first pathway to Frontierland and run once again along the banks of Rivers of America. Mile 4 will be located somewhere near the Haunted Mansion. Continue this path as you have the previous 2 mornings and suddenly find yourself in Galaxy's Edge. The path through Galaxy's Edge looks a tad different than previous mornings, and that will leave through a backstage area near the Millennium Falcon, isn't that cool? And Oga's Cantina, so right between the two. Our time backstage will be brief and will reappear to stage next to Minnie's house in Toontown. We'll run through Toontown, leaving via the walkway connecting the land to Fantasyland. This next part, if you see me, again, having a moment, let me have my moment, especially since I'll be dressed as this ride. That's right, it's a pass-by of It's a Small World, but not just a pass-by the front of it, a literal run around it with an exit backstage near the far right-hand side of the outer facade. Water stop number 3 will be waiting for us backstage, as will the first medical tent. Mile 5 is located as we leave property and begin the remainder of the course through the streets of Anaheim. So if you're taking notes, mile 1 through, not even 1, mile, what is that, 1.25 through 5, park. Everything else, streets. Ready? Buckle up, buttercups. Allow me to share what I have been told has previously occurred on the streets of Anaheim. I'll admit, when I saw how much road this half course has, I was a little apprehensive about it. This much road I can run out at home for free. Let's be real. So like any good researcher, I reached out to friends who have run the course or similar to it before and was quickly reassured that the city of Anaheim knows how to cheer for a race, especially a Disney race. Car clubs, school bands, neighborhoods of people, and more line the streets of Anaheim for these races. So while the thought of being on a road for this long without Disney entertainment left me a little shell-shocked, I can't wait to see what waits for us between miles 5 and the finish line. With that being said, let's get back to the course. Mile 5 is located on West Ball Road and continues on this road for 3/4 of a mile before turning left to Anaheim Boulevard. Mile 6 is located approximately a 1/4 mile down this road, and another 1/4 mile from the left turn will make to Cerritos Avenue. We'll be on Cerritos for another 1/2 mile before turning left again onto Lewis Street, where the 4th water stop and 2nd medical tent will also be. Mile 7 is nearly parallel with mile 6. A quick 1/2 mile again on Ball Road, and then a right turn to State College Boulevard. Mile 8 is located along this 1/2 mile section as well. Run Disney and Anaheim are keeping us on our toes with this section. Lots of 1/2 mile streets up and turns, and whew! Turn left back onto Cerritos Avenue, where the 5th water stop will be located. Continue on Cerritos Avenue for a smidge over 3/4 of a mile until we pass under the Orange Freeway. Just through the Orange Freeway, the 3rd med tent will be found right as we turn onto South Douglas Road. Mile 9 is located on this road and is just prior to the Honda Center, which my research tells me is the home of the NHL team, the Anaheim Ducks. Quack, quack. Is that what they do? Is it like the Mighty Ducks? Someone tell me. Okay. The 6th water stop is just past the Honda Center and right before we make a lap through the parking lot and exiting back to the main road at Catella Avenue. A quick sprint up Catella to the Santa Ana River Trail, where we'll spend another 1/2 mile and also meet mile 10. Once we get just before the Orange Freeway again, we'll begin a zigzag path to and next to the Angels Stadium. I know that prior half marathons have had the luxury of running through the stadium, but we don't. Womp womp. We get to tour it from the parking lot. Hooray! All while going through the 7th water stop. Mile 11 is located on Gene Autry Way, and you'll continue on this road for over 1/2 mile before turning left onto South Santa Cruz Street. You'll be on this for a quick block, and then you'll turn right onto East Stanford Court, followed by a sharp right back to Anaheim Way. Mile 12 is located at the intersection of Anaheim Way and Gene Autry Way. The final mile of this course takes us back to Disney Way. Mile 13 is found at the intersection of Disney Way and Clementine Street. Welcome to the finisher chute and enjoy the clank of those medals. You've earned them. One last topic and we are landing this plane, okay? Coast to coast. We won't talk about the medals here, but most of you know how the general population feels about them. Whether you like them or not, you'll have earned the Coast to Coast medal for the first track of the Coast to Coast plan after completing this half marathon if you did the half marathon or marathon in Orlando. Now, in order to get your medal, make sure that you're still wearing the bracelet you would have been given at the expo when you checked into the Coast to Coast booth. You'll be directed to a special location to get your medal. Congrats on your Coast to Coast. Now, I know what you're thinking. I didn't see that anywhere in the event guide, and that's because it's in the FAQ section of the Run Disney website, which I will have linked below. All right, y'all, we made it through the first race weekend event guide of the newly returned Disneyland races. Thank you again for watching, and I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of you, not only in Disney World, but also in Disneyland. Hey, let's go coast to coast. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends. I will see y'all very, very soon. Bye.